Hey folks, it's Simon Reynolds here and welcome to today's webinar, and I think it's going to be fantastic and extremely useful for you. So it's all about firing yourself. It's about how to design your business so that it runs without you. And if that's not the holy grail of business, I don't know what is. We're so stuck in our business. It's so hard to escape from it. As it grows, it becomes even worse. How do we get around it? That's what we'll be talking about. And just what I want to do, a couple of things before we start. And first of all is check the sound. So if someone could just type a Y in the chat box, in the question box down there. Oh, wonderful, John and Luke and Keith and Eileen and Robin and everybody. Thank you very much, guys. You can hear me loud and clear, and that is absolutely fantastic. Thanks for everybody who did that. Nice to have you on board. So you can hear me. The other thing I'd like you to do, if you could, is close down any other windows of your computer. Now the reason is this, that I've found time and time again that if I just have a webinar on and I'm not actually fully concentrating, I tend to get absolutely nothing out of it. So what I'd love you to do is just close those windows, because this is just about the most important issue that an entrepreneur faces as they run a growing business, is how to just escape it and have it so it's operational and functioning and growing without you having to work in it constantly. And that's what we'll be talking about today. All right, so let's get into it. So here's a few questions. How would you like to create a high profit company that doesn't need you to run it? How would you like to be able to go on holidays when you like and not worry about the business? And how'd you like to work much shorter hours and still have a fast growth company? Well, that's what we'll be talking about today. And the reality is, if you do not have this currently, then the simple fact is this, that the real problem is that too much of your business is centered around you. And as a result, you are imprisoned. Now, you've got growth to a certain extent because you're a talented entrepreneur, but it is still an imprisonment. And there are several ways that the business is too centered around you. The first is procedurally. And by that I mean that the actual procedures, how the business works day to day, is centered around you. You've got to tick off this, you've got to approve this, you've got to oversee that. And for a lot of good reasons, but also for a lot of limiting reasons, procedurally, you've structured it around you. And second of all, tactically, when you think of what do we do now, it usually involves you at the center of it. Now, I know why. It's because you're the most senior, experienced, talented person in there. But it doesn't stop the fact that you've built it tactically around you, which is going to cause you problems as you want to pull out. And then finally, we have a scenario where emotionally, you're tied to being the center of the business, many of you. So that, it's quite hard for you to pull yourself out, because you get a lot of emotional benefits, a lot of, you feel good, you feel wanted, you feel validated, being part of, being at the center of this business. And our job today is to help you fix these three areas, and design it so that if you want to, you can pull out of your business and it can still thrive. Now, for those who don't know me, my name's Simon Reynolds. I'm one of the partners at the Fortune Institute. And I was doing the calculation today. I have owned companies for 29 years. I mean, that is just frightening, but 29 years of owning companies. So my first company was at age 23. So I know a lot about building companies, because I've made more mistakes than almost everybody, because I've been a business owner for almost longer than almost everybody. And I've had a few successes too. I built 4 multi-million-dollar businesses. I've won over 50 industry and business awards. I've been featured on 60 Minutes twice as a top entrepreneur. I have appeared in many business publications, not just in Australia but around the world, as an expert on business. And one of my companies had a valuation on the stock exchange of over $500 million. So the only reason I mention all that is when I talk about some of this, it's not just me reading it from a book. It's all about actual experience. So what are we doing today? We're talking about how to design your business so that it runs without you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you several points. And the first is I'm going to show you some of the Fortune Institute's proven system for creating a business that you don't have to be in every day. I'm going to show you the 4 crucial elements you must get right if you want to unchain yourself from your business. And I'll also be sharing a brilliant strategy for quickly increasing your company's revenue. So if you're a business owner looking to run a high growth, high profit business that doesn't dominate your life, you are definitely in the right place. So let's get into the 4 keys that I think are absolutely imperative to have right if you want to grow a business that doesn't need you. Now, if you get these wrong, you're going to be a slave to your business forever. But if you get these right, you're going to have a high growth business that will run without you. Okay, so let's deal with key 1. Key 1 is you must design your business in advance. You must design your business in advance. And this is absolutely critical, but almost nobody does it. Now, we're all busy and we're in the maelstrom and avalanches and crises of business. And what we tend to do is just be reactive. We just wing it. And we just kind of solve the answers for this week or for this month. But very few entrepreneurs have sat down and designed what their business should look like in advance. And the truth is that most entrepreneurs have no staff growth plan. So they don't know what their big picture is for their staffing and for the structure of their organization. Now, here's a question for you. Just have a think about in your own head. Just have a think about this. What are the next 7 positions you're going to hire in your company? What are the next 7 positions you're going to hire in your company? Now, I can tell you there is almost no business owner on the planet that can immediately answer that. And the reason is because they don't have a plan past the next 1 or 2 people. They have not structured their business to be an entity that exists without them. They're basically just playing the short-term game. They're flying blind. They're reactive. And as a result of that, they often end up doing a whole lot of stuff themselves because they haven't really thought about their staff structure, and their staff are doing a whole lot of different jobs because it's not clearly defined what they should be doing. They're doing more than they should. There's no order, there's little planning, and there's a lot of chaos, like a chicken running around everywhere. Now, obviously, that is stressful and exhausting. Now, here's the kicker, guys. It's increasingly stressful and exhausting as your business grows. Now, a lot of you are experiencing that. It was okay to run it this way for a while, but as you grow, it's becoming harder and harder and more stressful to run it this way. So here are the questions you need to ask, and I'd love you to write these down. I think it'll be very useful for you in order to create a staff structure that doesn't need you every day to run the business. Okay, so the critical questions to ask. First of all, what would your business look like in 5 years? Okay, now, yes, do revenue. Yes, do profit. But what I really want you to do is I want you to look at, draw a staff org chart, so an organizational chart. And I want you to answer these questions in the organizational chart, because this is going to be your vision of what the business will, as an organization, as a set of staff, will look like in 5 years. So what key roles would you have? Well, there's you at the top, obviously, and potentially your partners. Now, underneath, what are the key roles? That's what you've got to get clear. And then you say, well, what support staff would I need? Well, the accountant would probably need an assistant. The salespeople might need 2 secretaries. The management might need an executive assistant. We might need a junior in the office to help around with stuff. Get that clear. What are the top roles? What support staff would you need around them? What middle ranking staff would you need? And critically, these days, what would your outsourced team look like? More and more, and at Fortune Institute, we help a lot of business owners make a lot of money very quickly by outsourcing a lot of their team. And more, many of the lower end tasks in your business can be outsourced overseas to the Philippines or to India to extremely intelligent, dedicated people who cost a fraction of some of the people in Australia. So what we need are key roles, we need our support staff, we need what our outsourced team would potentially look like, and you slowly draw this into a chart of this is, okay, in 5 years' time, this is what my business is going to look like. And of course, the reality is you might only be a 1, 2, 4 person business, right? So a lot of the roles are going to be you. Right now, maybe you're the finance director. Right now, maybe you're the new business director. Right now, maybe you're head of sales. That's okay. Just put your initials in each one of the boxes. Even if you do 10 jobs inside the company, but in your org chart 5 years in the future, just put your name in each, and maybe there's a few of your staff, you put others. And here's the killer idea. Then bit by bit, you keep that chart up where you can see it, and bit by bit, you slowly replace yourself in each role. Whether it's over 5 years, whether it's over 3 years, whether it's over 6 years, you choose. But bit by bit, you pull yourself back methodically in an ordered manner and replace yourself with someone that you've designed fully thought out in advance. Very, very powerful concept to do, and very few people do this. Okay, so we're talking about how to design your business so that it runs without you. Let's get into key 2. And key 2 is to base your entire business around checklists. Base it around checklists. So when you study checklists, one person's name comes up again and again, and it's a guy who is a world-class surgeon, Atul Gawande, but he's also the world's expert on checklists. And what Atul Gawande has done is he studied the impact of checklists on the world deeper than any other person in history. So he's seen how many industries in the world have been completely transformed by basing themselves around checklists. So for instance, the emergency rooms of hospitals used to have just hundreds and hundreds of deaths that could have been prevented by small errors. And when they switched to a checklist-based system, that made extraordinary differences. Or in the 70s in aviation, pilots switched to basing everything around checklists, and the amount of crashes dramatically reduced. Or in engineering is probably the most checklist-oriented career or industry in the world, and they had this incredibly low rate of major building failures, or even hedge funds. A lot of them are switching to checklist-based decision making. And so time and time again, you realize when you study a tool and experts on checklists that this is the future of a big business that doesn't need you. You see, there are 2 types of businesses broadly. First of all, there's the talent-based business. And that is you and a couple of your partners maybe who are really good at of the craft of their business, and so they open a business. And things go well for a while, but that can only grow so big, because how do you find people as talented as you? And how do you even pay for the people who are as talented as you? Because they tend to cost a fortune. So that's a talent-based business. And then there's a procedures-based business. So everything's built around procedures. Everything's built around checklists. So the reality is you don't have to have the world's greatest people working for you. You can have a pretty working for you, but if your checklists are excellent, you will not only will they do a great job, but it'll be really, really easy to make your business grow. You see, the reality is that talent-based businesses have a ceiling. I'll bet many of you are feeling that ceiling now. You can't find another you, or you can't afford a whole lot of yous. So what is the solution? The answer is a procedures-based business, is a checklist-based business. And this makes such a difference. And the reality is, if you have a talent-based business, you're always going to be stuck in it. You won't be able to pull yourself out because your talent is so crucial to the success of the business. So what kind of stuff should you create checklists for? Well, you might want to write these down. You need to create checklists for the following. First of all, for yourself. What should you do on what day? Various important things you do when you're pitching for business, or when you're talking to staff, or when you have meetings, or when you have your Monday morning get together, etc., etc., etc. You need checklists for this, and you need to follow them. You need it for each staff member. Okay, so the receptionist, what are the 12 things that she does, and in what way does she do them? So that you can keep an eye on that she has a very clear checklist. Or your middle ranking staff, or your sales team, or your accountant. When do they report to you? In what manner do they report to you? What do they do when they report to you? Each client scenario. So when you get a client, what are the checklists for how you handle them? It needs to be very clear so that you can pull back from the business and everybody else can still run the checklist. What about each marketing scenario? How do you bring in leads? How do you bring in sales? How do you follow up? What day, how many days do you wait till you follow up, etc.? You build a checklist around this and you make sure your team follows the checklist. And administration, what do you do in the back office part of your business to keep things going smoothly? And then finally, finance. So what do we do financially to keep things powering? Making sure you're watching cash flow, making sure you're watching expenses, making sure you have a meeting with an accountant at pre-organized distances between each meeting. Very, very important. Now, if you had checklists, I know it's a bit of a pain at the beginning, but imagine you had checklists already in these areas, and you and your staff were following them all. Well, you could step back already greatly. But you can't now because a lot of you are running talent-based businesses. And one of the things we do at the Fortune Institute, one of the ways we've helped so many Australian entrepreneurs make literally millions of dollars more and work a lot less in their business is we teach you the checklist. We teach you the kind of systems you need, and we teach you that type of thinking that allows you to pull back and spend much more time enjoying yourself. Okay, so once you've got those systems, what you need to do is sculpt and refine them. When you first get them, the checklist, they won't work perfectly. So you refine them a little. Add one, remove one, add one, remove one. And I'll tell you, 3 months later, you're going to have an awesomely effective checklist for each one of your staff. And if they don't follow the checklist, you sack them. If you give them enough warnings and you're coaching them and they're still not prepared to follow the checklist, get them out of your company and find someone who'll follow the checklist. Do not let other individuals ruin your system. You want to create a beautiful system, not just a whole lot of people. All right? Now, let's continue with the keys to designing a business so that it runs without you. We've gone through 2 keys of the 4. Let's get into key 3. And key 3 is that you need to step back systematically. You need to step back systematically. Now, you can't just step back, and some people would have tried that. It can be an absolute disaster to step back all at once. Plenty of great business people, Howard Schultz of Starbucks, Michael Dell of Dell Computer, some of the richest men in the world have made this mistake. They stepped back and their business started to go badly because they did it all at once. But by the same token, we can't keep having you as the sole driver of the success of the business as well. See, the reality is, though, this is a complex subject because it's not just a systems issue, it's an emotional issue. So most business owners have to be in control. They love it. They're the king of their own kingdom. And you've got to make the mental shift from royal king to master architect or master puppeteer. From royal king to master architect. to master puppeteer. That's got to be your aim, to be the master architect or the master puppeteer, pulling the strings from a distance and making everything work. Now, I know that you've had success basing everything around you so far. But as the great executive coach Marshall Goldsmith said, what got you here won't get you there. I know you want to build a business that makes you a fortune. I know you want to build a business that gives you a lifestyle of being able to take holidays, to be relaxed, and to step back from the business. But you can only do that if you construct things in a different way. And that's what we like to focus on at the Fortune Institute. So the question is, of course, what are the ways to step back? What are the ways to step back? Well, maybe you want to write these down too. First of all, you need to delegate more than you think you should. Now, generally, most talented entrepreneurs can do everything better than everybody else. So when you're not deluding yourself that you can do everything better than yourself, you can do everything better than others. You can do almost everything better than everybody else in the company. That's, in my experience, the reality of a top entrepreneur. But what you need to use, and one of the formulas we use at the Fortune Institute to help entrepreneurs make a lot more money and step back from their business, is what we call the 70% formula. And that is, if you look at a task and you think someone else can do it 70% as well as you, you delegate it. Because later on you can fix it and improve the, lift it up a little bit, but it frees an enormous amount of tasks that you would normally feel that you have to do yourself. So remember the 70% formula for delegation. Another way to step back, work away from the office frequently. Now, I'd like you to start this week with this. Literally say, I won't be in tomorrow, or I won't be in every Wednesday. That doesn't mean you're not working at home, or you say, I won't be in for 4 hours, and you're down at a cafe working. Not only will you get a whole lot more work done, but your team will begin to operate without having to ask you about everything, without having to, confidence to go ahead with themselves. When you're by themselves, when you're out of there, they're going to have to step up, follow the checklist, and run the business for short periods of time at first. And then, of course, you want to take frequent long weekends. I recommend you book in 6 long weekends immediately in your diary. Every 2 months, there's at least 1 long weekend. I'm away Friday and Saturday, or I'm away Monday, and make this regular. So people get used to working without you, and absolutely take all of your holidays, not just because it's a better way to live, but also because this is a beautiful opportunity for them to run things by themselves following the checklist methodology. Now, don't forget, even though you're out of the office, even if you're on holidays, you can monitor the checklist. It's very, very easy. You'll have all the checklists. And you'll ring up and you say, Angela, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? Or you'll say, John, it's 3 days after our meeting with a new business client that we're trying for. Did you do our follow-up call? Because it's sitting there on the checklist. So very, very easy to run the business from a distance when you're running it around the checklist. Okay, and finally, what you want to do is you want to start using team-based software and apps that help you work together and work remotely. Apps like Asana or Slack, or storage systems like Dropbox, where people can access them. They don't have to be in the office to see the report. They don't have to be in the office, and you don't have to be in the office to project manage tasks, or to see what everybody else has done, or to see what the deadlines are for everybody. And there's many. There's Evernote. There's Calendly, or Schedule Once for scheduling software. There's so many great pieces of team software that you can look into. And at Fortune, we're always helping entrepreneurs, even non-techie oriented entrepreneurs, to improve their lives and reduce their workload through the use of smart apps. All right, so let's continue with what I hope is a very, very useful and certainly an important webinar today: how to design your business so that it runs without you. And now we get into key 4, which is to get hardcore about training. To get hardcore about training. Folks, here is the truth. You are never going to be able to leave your company unless you do 2 things. First of all, hire great people, and everybody knows about that. But secondly, and this is where Australian entrepreneurs drop the ball all the time, is train them all superbly. Train them all superbly. I can tell you, you're better off getting an average person and training them well than some kind of brilliant person who's poorly trained. Now, let me say that again. You're better off, for a start, it's a lot cheaper, but you're better off getting an average person and training them superbly than a super intelligent person and leave them poorly trained just based on running things on a whim, just winging it. You must invest in training. You must invest in training. So let's have a look at where you should invest in training. First of all, for your staff, and in a variety of ways. Your systems and procedures, you need to rigorously train them again and again and again on running the procedures as you taught them to do. On time management, oh, wow, what an area, you know. I mean, you know, we have changed so many Australian entrepreneurs' life by teaching them how to be productive so they don't have to work till 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. at night. They can leave at 4 by just getting more productive. But it's the same with your staff. You've got to make them more productive as well, and we'll teach you those systems. You need to train them on technology, as we were talking about. How do they use it so that they can be far more effective? And you need to train them on industry changes. Time and time again, I see a lot of people working for a company that are running the business like it was 10 years ago. And you need to keep them up to date about where the industry's headed and adjust their behavior in accordance with that. But we're not just talking about training your staff. You need to invest in training in yourself as well, because you're and your business partners, because you're so crucial to the business. What kind of areas do you need training for? Well, you need training in leadership. As you put on more staff, your ability to lead powerfully becomes more and more and more important. You need to get training on productivity so that as you double in size, you don't double your workload. You don't double the amount of hours that you work. You need to get training in sales, so critical. Another classic example of people relying on talent. Just because you get a few sales based on your talent, let me tell you, we have case studies at the Fortune Institute where we sometimes double or triple people's sales when they start training themselves on how to do it better. And on marketing, how to bring in customers and bring them in at an efficient way at an efficient price. So finally, what you need to do is you need to be trained on strategy. And that's one of the things we really specialize at Fortune is thinking big picture about the next 90 days, about the next year, about the next 3 years for business. The slightest change in strategy can sometimes turn a business around and make it rapidly grow. Okay, so how do you do this? How do you get all this training so that you can be extraordinary and pull back from your business and have it beautifully arranged and designed so your staff are running it? Well, the reality is that there's a variety of options that you can take. In reality, you have a choice. There's 2 doors at this time that you can go through, and it's up to you. The first is you can keep doing the things you've always done for the next 5 or 10 years. Now, if they're creating a super high growth business that's dominating the industry, then my advice is keep doing the things you've always done. But if you're irritated by your growth, if you don't think you're living up to your potential, if you think that you could be a much bigger business, then I strongly urge you not to keep doing the same things you've always done. You've got to do something different. You've got to train yourself in new ways. Go down is you can install a proven highly effective, rapid income increasing system that day after day is helping entrepreneurs build their businesses and step away businesses and still have them grow at rapid rates. And what I'd like to do is just spend a few minutes talking to you about our lead program, the premier program inside the Fortune Institute that helps you do exactly that, install a proven, highly effective, rapid income increasing system into your business. And that's called the High Achiever Program. And many of you may have already seen on our website some truly amazing success stories. I think we've got 40 videos, case study videos of Australian entrepreneurs. But here's the amazing thing. We've got another 20 or so we haven't even put on the website because we think it's a bit much. I mean, we've got so many case studies of people making either hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars extra using systems. The High Achiever Program has, I think, collectively made many tens of millions of dollars extra for entrepreneurs. It's highly proven, it's highly effective, and it's extremely fast for most entrepreneurs to make the changes. So who's it good for? Well, I think it's perfect for people who want to generate a lot more leads in their business. I think it's really appropriate for people who want to increase their price, but don't know how to do all the marketing and strategy that allows them to charge a much higher price. I think it's for people who want to create a consistent revenue growth rather than up and down, stop and start revenue growth. And typically we get three types of clients in the High Achiever program. The first is those who want to generate leads that are ready to buy now. The second is those who want a reliable, predictable business growth system. And the third is people who want to massively improve their sales conversion. So, a much higher percentage of the people that call you buy from you. And I think that there are four critical things that you get in the High Achiever program. The first is you get extraordinary business growth techniques to grow your business much faster. And we don't just tell you stuff that you've heard before or you should do. The reality is we tell you stuff you have never heard before, and that as soon as you know it, you go, damn, I could do that this week and it's going to make a difference to my business. We'll teach you stuff that you haven't heard before and that's amazing, about how to generate leads, about how to close sales, about how to build a $1 million brand, about how to do online marketing without having to be a tech genius, about how to increase your prices and still have people happy to pay them, about how to increase your profits with making key tweaks to your business. So first of all, extraordinary business growth techniques. Also in the High Achiever program, you get advanced mindset and extreme productivity systems to maximize your performance. Here's a reality, folks. I've studied this for 30 years, and let me tell you, all great entrepreneurs think in the same way. They may have different personalities, but they have the same kind of mindset. And we've studied this in great depth, and we teach these clients inside the High Achiever program this mindset. And then we work on extreme productivity. And let me tell you, whatever you're achieving now, you can at least achieve double. At least many people would achieve triple without working a minute longer if you get really, really good at productivity. And I think we've got some of the most advanced productivity systems for business owners in the world. The third thing you get with a High Achiever program is accountability to rocket your results. So what we do is we just work with you and we keep in touch. It could be every week, it could be every 2 weeks. Some people like to stay in touch every month. And we make sure that you're doing the stuff that you said you do. And we just keep you accountable. And let me tell you, the number one reason that entrepreneurs perform better is when they become more accountable. And this change in your business, this improvement in your business is super quick. Literally, if you start our accountability system, in 3 weeks from now, you could be achieving an enormous amount more, and it'll make a massive difference to your bottom line, to be held accountable, to do the stuff you know you should be doing. And then the fourth thing you get with a high achiever program is community. And community is fantastic in two ways. First of all, you get the collective experience of the other top entrepreneurs in the high achiever program. You know, we had a meeting a few weeks ago of high achiever clients, and I did a calculation. Get this, I did a calculation that there was conservatively 1,000 years of business ownership experience in the room. So when you come into the High Achiever program and you work with other entrepreneurs and they brainstorm on how to improve your business and they listen to you and they give you their ideas, you're getting 1,000 years of entrepreneurial wisdom working for you. Now, let me tell you, the chances of you not getting ideas from the other entrepreneurs in the High Achiever program that can build your business is infinitesimal. You're going to get them, and what a difference it makes. And then the second part of community is camaraderie. Look, it's lonely being an entrepreneur. That's the reality. And the truth is that one thing that a lot of entrepreneurs really love about the High Achiever program is that they get to hang around with a lot of really interesting, fascinating, nice, caring, other entrepreneurs who are going through the same sort of stuff that you're going through, having the same kind of victories that you're going through, and having the same kind of problems that you're going through. And there's great camaraderie in that. So very, very important. And this mix of these four elements has led to some extraordinary success stories. Here's just a few. Anthony Igra, using our system, he doubled his revenue in 12 months, and he improved his close rate from 34% to 78%. Now, what that means is that 78% of people who call him buy from him. Last time I took his figures down, 78% of people who call him buy from him. Now, that is, frankly, as he admits, a lot of it is due to our work on his sales system. But imagine that 78% of people who call you bought from you. Well, look at Chris Thomas. He has a market research company called Play. He recorded a 103% increase in revenue in just 6 months using the High Achiever system. Or look at Lincoln and Zach Remar. They have tennis schools called Remar Tennis. They grew their client base 180% in the first 6 months using our system. They now own 20 tennis schools. Let's look at James Leithbridge from Morgan Civil. He recorded a 92% increase in revenue in 1 year using our system. Mark Hunter, he has a bigger company, a freight company, Hunter Express. He increased his revenue by over $10 million using the High Achiever system. Asako Nakamura, one of the two partners at Mirror Boutique, which is both physical boutiques and a big online presence. They've recorded a 965% increase in revenue in 24 months working with our system. Or Michael Bird from the digital marketing company Social Garden. He's increased his revenue over 290% in 1 year using our system. Or Charles Corkery from Diamond Catering Solutions, who increased his revenue by 101% in just 1 year in the High Achiever program. Now, they are absolutely extraordinary case studies, but there are tens and tens of them that we have videos and we've recorded in detail. So that's the High Achiever system. Now what I want to do is also tell you a lot about, sorry, my little daughter just came in right then. And I want to give you a very, very special offer. And the special offer is something that we think is amongst the best offers ever offered in business education. And, you know, High Achiever is a premium event and system. And Aussie entrepreneurs literally pay thousands of dollars to be in this program. And it's helped many of them make literally millions of dollars extra in this business. But here is our offer. We want to give you 30 days membership inside the High Achiever program for just $1. Now, is that a good deal or is that a good deal? 30 days inside our High Achiever program, our premier system of business growth for just $1. Now, that includes being in a full 2-day workshop to create a plan, and a clear 90-day plan for your business, and to get you clear on the 3 things you need to do that will grow it fastest. It includes coaching with us. It includes a detailed 90-day system. It gets you crystal clear on the next steps you've got to take to grow a business that not only is high profit, but does not need you in it every day to run it. Now, why do we offer this extraordinary offer? Well, we are so certain, we have so many case studies of entrepreneurs who are in our program that we're so certain that if you go, almost everybody who enters the High Achiever program absolutely loves it and thinks that it's superb and continues on. But if it's not right for you, you can leave, no obligation, 0 obligation, you know, thanks for trying it. And so there's 0 risk and massive reward. So who's the High Achiever program for? Well, it's for entrepreneurs who know they could grow twice as fast if they just had the right marketing knowledge. It's for business owners who would perform much better if they were held more accountable, and that's just about everyone. It's for company founders who are already doing well but want to take it to the next level. And the High Achiever program is for people who want to become extremely effective leaders, managers, marketers, and entrepreneurs. But it's not for everyone. Who isn't it for? Well, and this is very important, it's not for companies doing less than 300,000 revenue per annum. Now, the reason is, guys, the power of the mastermind group, the power of the community is that you want to be surrounded with like-minded entrepreneurs. So you must make at least $300,000 revenue to get in the room. And that's an important difference. Now, of course, many people are making tens of millions inside the room, you know, but the reality is, our limit is you've got to at least make $300,000 revenue per annum. It's not for people who aren't interested in focusing on sales and marketing. If you don't want to grow your business, don't come into the High Achiever program. We are about fast growth. So if you don't want to do sales, you don't want to do marketing, you don't want to learn what we've learned in 30 years about that to grow your business, it's not for you. It's not for people who aren't prepared to invest in their future. So if you're a penny pincher that, you know, just wants information and to look at stuff, it's not for you. And it's not for entrepreneurs who are absolutely happy growing their company slowly. I tell you what our system's great for. It's for people who are pissed off that they're not living their potential, that they know that they could be making much more than they are. And it's not for negative people or complainers. Guys, we don't want you in the program, no offense, but if you're negative, if you're a complainer, all we want is great, positive, hardworking, inspired entrepreneurs inside our program. So if you feel that you are someone who really wants to grow your business, if you're really committed to this, if you're really passionate about this, if you're really, if this is really important to you, then the High Achiever program is definitely for you. And I think our $1, our 30 days inside the program trial, no obligation trial for just $1 is pretty hard to beat. So if that's what you want to do, here are the next steps. This fabulous looking guy is Mark Haldeman, one of the partners of the Fortune Institute. And the next steps, if you want to do our 30-day trial of our famous High Achiever program, is you need to email Mark at thefortuneinstitute.com. You need to email Mark right now at thefortuneinstitute.com. And you just include, say hi, include your mobile number, your business name, and your website address. Include your mobile number, your business name, and your website address. And what he'll do is he'll come back to you and he'll arrange a 15-minute appointment with you. And that's where you can ask questions and learn more about the program also be kind of asking you, and really we're just looking for right fits, guys. We don't want everybody in the program. We don't want people who don't fit it. We just want the right people. And we'll know, Mark will know within a few minutes talking with you whether it's a right fit, and you're going to know whether it's a right fit with just a few minutes talking to Mark. And we're just looking for win-wins, people who we know we can help, people we know we can make a difference to. And that's what we're looking for when we have that conversation with you. So that's what you do. You email mark@thefortuneinstitute.com with your mobile number, business name, and website to arrange a 15-minute appointment. Now, I do have to warn you about one thing. The spaces are extremely limited. We're coming to the end of our open period for enrollment. We've only got a handful, literally a handful of spaces left. We cannot just put 1 million people into this. It's only a handful left, and it's closing extremely soon. So you truly must email him now. It'll be done on a first-come, first-served basis for you to get into the 30-day trial. Obviously, when you're offering something worth thousands of dollars for $1, the spaces go pretty quickly. So you need to email mark@thefortuneinstitute.com immediately in order to get in. All right, folks, so that's what you need to do. That's what you need to say, and we'll arrange the appointment with you. And that's it. I hope you got an extraordinary amount out of this webinar, and I hope when you heard the kind of stuff we were teaching, you realize, hey, I could do a lot more to grow a business that doesn't need me. I could do a lot more to create a super fast growth enterprise. I could do a lot more with my business life if I worked with the Fortune Institute. So $1 risk, folks, so zero risk, or close to zero risk, and massive opportunity. Don't miss your opportunity to join our team for 30 days, be in the High Achiever program for 30 days. Just simply email mark@thefortuneinstitute.com with your mobile number, business name, and website, and we will get you into your program. You know, Helen Keller said a wonderful quote. She said, "Life's a daring adventure, or it's nothing." So if you're thinking, you know, should I dare do this? Remember Helen Keller's words, life's a daring adventure, or it's nothing. Dive in and join the hundreds of entrepreneurs in Australia that have used the High Achiever program to take their business and their life to a whole different level. On behalf of all the partners at the Fortune Institute, it's been fabulous having you on this webinar. I hope to see you inside our program. Bye for now.